How's it going, everybody? It's Two Shot Tweeter here. I got a Arcanist build coming at you. It's gonna be my first build video, so it's gonna be a little rough. So bear with me. Let's get right into it. Let's see. We'll go over consumables. Consumables. We're gonna be running Jules Mistral, Orzorga's Smoke Bear Haunch for your health and your sustain. You get stamina, mag recovery, and a big pool of health. Then we're going to get to the character sheet. Character sheet, we got 37 points into health, making us get a 35k health pool. 27 into stam, helps us with our sustain. Most of our abilities are going to revolve around our stam pool. We're going to be running the Shadow Mundus Stage 3 Vamp. We'll get into the reasons why with that. I'm sure everybody knows why you run Stage 3 Vamp, but we'll talk about it. Let's see. We'll just go ahead and go over the skills as well. On the front bar, we're running Rending Slashes. If you don't know what Rending Slashes does, it gives hemorrhaging status effect, reduces the movement speed of your enemies, and puts a good dot and bleed on your target, and it also is a good spammable. We're running the Flail. This is your source of immobilization. Also, it does some increased damage if you hit somebody with it, applying the Abyssal Ink. 5% increased damage to enemies with that on them. Deals 100% more damage to enemies with less than 50% health. So, third skill, we're going to be running Recuperative Treatise. I probably butchered that name. What it does is etch a series of runes onto your weapon pulse with power once every 5 seconds. Each pulse enhances your class abilities with striking with one, deals an additional 32 magic damage, restores 600 mag and stamina, regenerates crooks if you have none, and it's your source of major brutality and major sorcery on the build. Next skill we're going to be running is Rune Guard of Freedom. Now with this skill, it's one of your defensive sets, or like skills, I would say, not set. What it does is give you minor resolve, minor protection, but also when you get below 50% health, it gives you like a burst heal, but it soaks in minor protection, and it scales off your max health and gaining 3,000 armor and crowd control immunity for 6 seconds. So keep this skill up at all times. Usually, if this needs to go in your buff rotation, just to keep that minor protection up at all times, and then like I said, you get minor resolve for 20 seconds on it. But also, if you ever fall below 50% health, you get a burst heal. So it's kind of a no-brainer not to run it. For the last one on our dual wields skills, we're running Pragmatic Fake Carver. It's basically, I would say that I use it for more like an execute. Like, I'll line up my burst damage and then go straight into Pragmatic, and it does a lot of damage. I've had ticks of like 7k on people sometimes when I get fully buffed. But what it does is harness pure knowledge into your beam of energy that scars the world in front of you. Channel the beam for up to 4 seconds, dealing 2901 magic damage every 3 or 0.3 seconds. While channeling, you also gain a damage shield that absorbs 14 or close to 14k damage and grants interrupt immunity. Other morph is not good for PvP, so I wouldn't even run it, honestly. Casting Pragmatic Fake Carver consumes all crux, increases damage done by 33%, and decreases cost by 16% per crux spent. So what you want to do is you want to gain your stacks of your crux, and then when you line up your burst, you just need to go straight into beam. So there's that. Skills for your ultimate. Yeah, this is a flex spot, whatever you feel comfortable with. I've been running Dawnbreaker, and it's like the upfront damage, and it puts a dot on them as well. So it goes really good with Pragmatic. If you want a lot more damage, but you want to take the risk of them getting out of it and you just basically missing all your damage, but it's a lot of damage if you can get them to hold still. You could put on Tide Skin Gaze. It's a really good ultimate for this situation. Also, you can run Ice Comment as well. So, you got some options on your ultimate there. So, alright, on the back bar, we're going to be running Elemental Susceptibility. And what that does is gives you major breach on your target, but it also, every 7.5 seconds, the enemy is afflicted with Burning Shield and concussion status effects. And you're looking for those status effects, and we'll talk about it here in a little bit. Next skill, Impervious Rune Ward. This is your main, one of your main defenses on this build, along with the Rune Ward or Rune Guard. This puts a big damage shield on you for 1 second, and then another damage shield after 5 seconds if the shield persists or if it doesn't get thrown through it. First time you take damage, the shield retaliates, deals 2900 magic damage to the attacker, scaling off your armor. Consume crooks to heal yourself for 4k health, scaling off your per crook spent. So if you're in a bind and you're needing to go defensive and you got crooks built up and you're just building them up for your pragmatic, just flip to the back bar, hit this, and you're good. Evolving Ruinman, this is really good for like group play, and also this is like one of the major sources of a heal on this build. If you need an extra thing of health, sometimes it'll go to another player next to you, which is kind of a minor inconvenience, but most of the time I never run into an issue running this, and if I need the heal, it usually goes to me. So just keep that in mind. You can also run Vigor here, but this is more of like a group play build. So if you feel like you don't need to be in a group or anything, you can put on Resolving here as well, and then that kind of just frees up a spot if you don't want to run your Ruin Guard for your Minor Resolve as well. So you could probably swap those out, but I highly recommend getting that minor protection, so for group play. Then we're going to go to Race Against Time. This is your snare and immobilization immunity, major expedition, increasing, you get your critical damage up to with minor force. Keep that up at all times as well. And then we're going to go to the armor buff, Crux Weaver armor. It gives you your major resolve. Also, when people hit you, it applies minor breach, and it continuously puts minor breach on them just for having this up and them hitting you, which is reduces your armor of your attacker by 2974 for 6 seconds. Blows against your armor also generates crooks up to 5 or once every 5 seconds. So keep that up at all times too. And your buff when you're buffing up. For the ultimate, for the back bar, Sanctum of the Abyssal Sea. Why not run this? I mean, it's a really good oh shit button. So what it does is when you pop this, the tentacles form a damage shield that absorbs 60% of all damage for 10 seconds up to a max of 103,000 damage, scaling off your max health. When the shield collapses, you lash out, dealing all the damage absorbed as magic damage to enemies within 5 meters over 10 seconds. Now when you pop this and you're going into like a big Zerg, or you know you're going to take a lot of damage, it's just you just need to pop this if you think you're going to take a lot of damage just right off the rip. Because what you can do is pop this, throw up Ruin Meld or anything like that, just to get a heal over time. Or if you're running Resolving, hit this, pop Resolving, go in, and just start laying down some damage. And just make sure you got a HOD on, or just watch your health, because that 60% of all damage for 10 seconds, it helps out a lot, but you still could take a lot of damage really, really, really fast. So just be mindful of that. Also, you got a lot of great passives, and one of the things that the reason why I run a lot of these skills on my front bar is for the pin bonus. Almost got 3k. You could also put Ty King's Gaze on and get another 991 pin for just having it on your bar, on your front bar. A lot of good passives. You want all your dual wield, destruction staff, everything besides tri-focus. I'm not really running tri-focus. On this build, I'm running 4 medium, 3 heavy, so don't need any in light armor. Medium, you could put you can put your points in improved sneak if you want to. I don't. All your heavy armor passives for sure. And then vampire, stage 3, undeath. Um, what it does is at stage 3 or higher, reduce your damage taken by up to 30% based on your missing health. That's huge. Fighters Guild, Dawnbreaker, Smiting. So you're going to want to put Slayer, Banish the Wicked on. So if you're running Ice Comet, Everlasting Magic, and Magicka Controller, Sigic Order, since we're running Race Against Time, put us a couple points in the Concentrated Barrier. You get that extra damage shield when you can. And then Undaunted, get your passives from your Undaunted. Assault, get your Continuous Attack, Combat Frenzy, Support, Combat Medic, Battle Resurrection. I'm an Imperial in this build. It is great for sustain. You could also go Orc, Dark Elf on this build, or Khajiit. Khajiit is really good for this build too, since we're building in the crit damage and critical strike. But I'm right at cap. I think I'm right at 116% on critical damage. You could go Khajiit and hit closer to the cap if you want. This build seems fine. I like the extra sustain from being running Imperial. Alchemy, medicinal use. Alright, champion points. Blue Tree, Fighting Finesse, Focus Mending, Force of Nature, Wrathful Strikes. What you could do is you could swap out Focus Mending for Cleansing Revival. I'm probably going to, just because all the siege and stuff and all that. And it's just great to have that, so you can run that. Red Tree, I'm running Celerity, Bastion to get the extra effectiveness on your damage shields. Survival Instincts and Sustained by Suffering. I like the survivability of having all the cost reductions and all that stuff to your skills from being an Imperial and stuff. But what you could do is just to be a little bit more tanky, and for those people that incap you and stuff, you could swap out one of those sustained CPs for Relentlessness. It would be great. Alright. Now, last but not least, I know that's what you've been waiting for, is the gear. Front bar, I'm running Master's Perfected Axes. Front hand Nernhoned, or main hand Nernhoned. Off hand charged. I'm running Damage, Health, Poisons for the poisons on the front bar. Batterstrin Perfected Inferno Staff. It needs to be an Ice Staff. I just haven't grinded it in defending. I just haven't got around to it. Balorg's Impin Medium. Heavy Cuirass of Mechanical Acuity and Reinforced Trait. Balorg's Medium Impin Shoulders. Druid's Medium Belt and Impin Trait. Bracers of the Trainee Medium Impin. Greaves of the Mechanical Acuity and Heavy in Impin. It needs to be reinforced. I just haven't made one yet that's reinforced, just to get that little bit of extra armor. Heavy Sabatons of the Mechanical Acuity Impin. Also, these should both be reinforced, but I just haven't got around to it. Necklace of the Mechanical Acuity and Bloodthirsty with a weapon and damage enchant with the Stam recovery. All my jewelry is going to be that. Ring of the Mechanical Acuity, Bloodthirsty, weapon damage. Death Dealers, Bloodthirsty, weapon damage. Now what you can do to change up the build and get a little bit more damage out of it, if you're good with Sea Serpents, you can throw on Sea Serpents, which I got a infused weapon damage. So you can run that as well if you like running the Sea Serpents. Cool. But I'm liking the Death Dealers to have the resource pool and just get a little bit more extra health. I can get, I think, up to like 41k with a Warden buff, I believe is what the build gets up to. And which everything scales off max health as far as the damage shields for this class. So So other than that, I'm gonna pull up the superstar on this build, and you can screenshot it if you want, and let you take a look at it. Give you a second to screenshot it, and that would be it for the build. Leave a comment down in the comment box below with like, I guess you would say, comments, concerns, or any critiques on it. I know that's the first build video, so it's a little rough, so I sure do appreciate it. Also, I'll live stream on Twitch if you want to see the build in action, because I usually run this. Just come on over and just check it out. Alright, thanks. Peace out.